Okay, let's talk about IVF. When you first start looking into it, the schedule can seem, well, pretty intense, right? All those appointments, all the timelines, it's a lot to take in. But don't worry, that's exactly what we're here to do. We're going to break it all down step by step so you can see exactly what to expect and feel a whole lot more in control.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with how IVF actually kicks off. Then we'll get into the main stages of what's happening. After that, we'll look at a sample 12-day schedule to see how it all fits together. And really importantly, we'll talk about flexibility. Finally, we'll wrap it all up with the key takeaways. Sound good? Let's jump in.
All right, section 1, decoding your IVF start. So first things first, where does this whole journey actually begin? This is the big question, isn't it? What do those first couple of weeks actually look like? I mean, you hear about it, but what's really going on? It's this whirlwind of science and monitoring, all happening behind the scenes. And our job right now is to pull back the curtain and show you exactly what that map looks like. Okay, moving on to section 2, the main stages. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of a day-by-day calendar, let's zoom out a bit. It helps to understand the big picture phases first. Think of them like the main acts in a play. These are the building blocks for any IVF cycle. So really, this whole first part boils down to these 3 key steps. First up, you've got ovarian stimulation. This is where medications are used to, well, stimulate your ovaries to produce more than one egg. The idea is simple. More eggs equals more chances. Next, we have follicle monitoring. This part is so important. Your clinic will be keeping a really close eye on how those eggs are growing with scans and tests. Seriously, timing is everything. And all of that leads to the final step in this phase, egg collection. This is the procedure where they carefully retrieve those mature eggs. Okay, section 3, a sample 12-day schedule. Now that we know the what, let's talk about the when. This is where we put it all on a calendar and see how it actually plays out in real life. Right, so here we go with one possible timeline. But I really gotta stress this. This is just a sample. It's here to give you a feel for the process. Everyone is different, and your clinic is going to create a schedule that's tailored specifically to you and how your body responds. Okay? This is just an example. Okay, let's walk through this sample schedule. So things often get started around day 2 of your cycle. This is go time for ovarian stimulation, plus some blood tests to see where your hormones are at. Fast forward to day 6, and you're in for your first check-in, an ultrasound to see how everything's progressing. Then you'll notice the pace picks up a bit. You're back for another progress check on day 8, and then again for final monitoring around day 10. These check-ins are absolutely crucial because they allow the team to track growth super closely. And then, day 12. This is the big day, tentatively, for the egg collection. It's all timed perfectly based on everything they saw in those scans. Now for section 4, a note on flexibility. This is a really, really important point. Because even though that schedule we just saw looks super rigid, there's a human side to all of this. Life happens, and that's especially true when you're coordinating with a partner. And this quote really says it all. The schedule for when the husband comes can be flexibly discussed. Now, obviously, this applies to any partner involved, not just a husband. But the message here is huge. It's telling you that the schedule isn't necessarily set in stone. It's not a my way or the highway situation. There's room to talk, to figure out the logistics of real life. Exactly. You can absolutely propose alternative schedules. If the standard plan just doesn't work for you or your partner, don't be afraid to speak up. The absolute key here is to talk to your clinic. They're your team, your partners in this. They want this to work for you. Okay, section 5, your key takeaways. We've gone through a lot, so let's boil it all down to the stuff you really need to remember. So here's what it all comes down to. First, that initial IVF process is all about those 3 big steps: stimulation, monitoring, and collection. Second, a typical cycle means you're looking at about a 12-day period with several appointments packed in. Third, the key procedures you'll get familiar with are ultrasounds, blood tests, and then, of course, the egg collection itself. Now, here's the big one. Remember that schedules, especially for partners, are often flexible. Don't be afraid to ask. Which brings us to our final and maybe most important point. Open communication with your clinic is absolutely essential. Talk to them. And we want to leave you with this one final thought to take with you. As you get ready for this, just ask yourself, what is the most important question you can ask your clinic to feel totally confident about your schedule? Because being an active part of your own team, well, that's the most powerful thing you can do.